Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us here today. And thank you for joining us for this week of advocacy. Here at ONA, we hope that you've learned something about issues that are important to nursing. Some of you are probably not surprised by some of the statistics and the information that we've been talking about this week. But I hope that you've been sharing that information to help educate your community, your family members, even your colleagues who might not know just the severity of some things that are going on in this profession, and really some of the shocking statistics with what happens when, for example, there's unsafe staffing in a hospital. It's truly shocking stuff, and it's a public health issue. And there's a nurse staffing crisis happening right now. So we're just really pushing that the time is now for systemic and meaningful change to happen. So thank you to everyone who's been joining us this week and tuning in and taking action. We really appreciate it. I'm Molly Homan with the Ohio Nurses Association, and I'm very excited to bring to you today Ashley Lantto. So Ashley has been the person who's been bringing this demonstration to the Ohio State House on May 12th. You might have heard of it. There's a pretty large Facebook group going on right now, and it seems to be all the buzz across Ohio. So I wanted to bring Ashley on with us today so she can talk a little bit more about it. So Ashley, just tell us a little bit about yourself first.
Thanks, Molly. My name's Ashley Lantto. Born and raised in Ohio. Been a nurse now since 2016 as LPN, 2018 as an RN. I've had the honor of seeing like my mom in healthcare and my sister in healthcare. Other than that, I see a lot of things that need to be changed in our healthcare system, and that's mainly the things that I've been more concerned about. I could talk all day about me, but I'm more about wanting to talk about the changes that we can make.
Yeah. And I know based on our conversations we've had previously, you're super passionate about the profession, healthcare in general, and just making sure patients get the care that they deserve. So I guess that parlays into this demonstration that you've been organizing for nurses and really all healthcare workers and community members that want to join on May the 12th. So can you tell us a little bit about that? Like why you got it started, the genesis of it all?
Yeah, so I saw the Million Nurse March on Facebook, I think end of January, maybe beginning of February. And they're marching, at Washington, D.C. And I was thinking back in my head, I'm like, I cannot make it down to Washington, D.C. There's no way financially that I can make it down there. I've got a child. I couldn't get anything with childcare going with that. So I thought that it'd be more feasible to do something at the State House. I feel like it's a lot easier to get to the State House for a lot of people. And I feel like we could make a lot of changes at the state level, truly, have our voices heard by our legislators.
Right. I mean, that's a good point. I mean, it'd be great if we had federal legislation, but that seems a lot more of a daunting task than starting in our own state and trying to get meaningful and truly common sense legislation passed here in Ohio. And hopefully our lawmakers this time will listen to us. So when is the march? What's the time frame? What can people expect with that?
So the march itself is on May 12th at 10 a.m. We're still trying to get some speakers coming, but I'm hoping to have, a nurse experience there, kind of show some lawmakers about like call light fatigue and things like that. I'm hoping to have some people willing to show not even just like the bad side of nursing and all that, but also what made them get into nursing as well. All those things. I just want to humanize healthcare, essentially. We want to humanize the healthcare workers and put people over profits.
So what are your goals with having this demonstration at the State House? What issues do you want to highlight?
So definitely safe ratios. We all need safe ratios because when we have unsafe staffing, there's no way that things don't fall through the crack. It's a public issue at that point, you know.
Right.
We want to make sure people are getting, you know, fair wages. We have some people that are getting paid 7-figure salaries in the higher up positions. And, you know, then in the same breath talking about capping agencies and things like that. And it doesn't make sense to me, you know. So I think that there might need to be some play in there. There needs to be some stronger legislation too against healthcare worker violence,
Yes.
you know, definitely that. And just mainly making sure that people are safe in a healthcare setting, safe work environments. You know, I feel like we shouldn't have to fight for it, but we will.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the work environment that nurses have to go to on a day-to-day basis, that is the reason why there's this mass exodus that's happening right now. That New York Times video brought to light a very eye-opening statistic that over 40% of nurses are wanting to leave the profession.
Yeah.
That's huge. And truly, the time is now to make a change so we can keep good nurses at the bedside, because we need nurses. The nation needs nurses. Our patients, our loved ones need nurses. Everybody needs nurses. So we need to make some changes now in order to keep nurses at the bedside.
Yes. I keep telling people, help us help you right now. You know, so I've even been telling people, like, if you are somebody in the general public that supports the healthcare workers, you're more than welcome to come to this demonstration, because it is not only just healthcare workers, it is a public issue. We need this to be drawn attention to.
Truly, you're right, because we need the community support, because it affects everybody. It really affects everybody. And at some point in everybody's life, they're going to be in a situation where they need a nurse.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to have nurses, you know, available. You know, Ohio was on track to have a surplus of nurses come 2030. But now who knows what's going to happen with that, because we have the nurses. It's just a nurse doesn't want to have to be subjected to that work environment anymore. And that is the problem.
Yeah. And like, you know, my husband, he's actually a nurse now too. He just graduated and started in the profession. And I'm doing my best to try to not scare him from it, you know, when I talk about these things. But you need the experienced nurses there to help the, you know, the new nurses too. I'm not saying the new nurses don't know anything, but they need a hand to guide them. So when we have the experienced nurses leaving, it can be a bad thing for the public and for the doctors and everything else too, because people forget that we are the last line of defense before medications go to them, treatments and all of those things. So like, we need public support.
That's right. So I think we kind of touched on this already, but if you were talking to a nurse or a member of the community, what would you tell them as the reason to attend this demonstration?
As a reason why, honestly, I think that if you could ever potentially be in a hospital or need care in general, if you care about healthcare at all, you need to go.
Right.
Because healthcare does not care about your socioeconomic status, your race, your religion, or anything. Everybody needs healthcare. And, you know, it's a general equalizer. We need everybody there.
That's right.
To help support it. It's struggling right now.
It's true. We're in a dire situation, and the nursing profession is voted the most trusted year after year after year. And it just baffles me that for decades, nurses have been saying year after year after year that we need changes. Mm-hmm. And it's time that lawmakers, people who make those decisions, start trusting the most trusted profession.
Yeah, like I have been targeted before in the employee situation where I'm like, hey, this is unsafe. And I've had employers say, well, where does it say in Nurse Practice Act or in the state of Ohio that you have a ratio? And I'm like, okay, it doesn't say that. But, I do have a license that I need to protect and people I need to protect. So, this is a moral issue and an ethical issue as well.
Not to mention, there's so much evidence that says that this ratio is the ideal ratio for safe patient care. But you're right. An employer will just throw that in your face and say, I don't have to. And that's why we need this common sense legislation in place, because we need to be able to hold employers accountable and give them a guidepost about what is considered safe.
Yes.
Our patients deserve that too.
Yeah, like I would love for us to work together with employers, don't get me wrong, as long as it's for healthcare, but if it's really, we have to put legislation there, it concerns me.
Yeah. All right, Ashley, is there anything else you want to say?
I've got a lot of donation sites going right now. If you want more information, we've got ohnursemarch.org and .com now. If you want any information on what we're working on, feel free to check it out. And we have all the links to all the social medias on there as well.
Great. Well, thanks, Ashley, for joining us. And everybody, we'll put a link to those sites within the comments, a link to the Facebook group, so and to their Facebook page, because they have one now too. So join that group, stay in the loop about what's going on. And we hope to see a lot of people at this demonstration on May 12th. Thanks for joining us, Ashley, and great job organizing all this. You're doing so good. All right, bye, everybody.
Thank you.